Okay, how to get your Canon Powershot into slow motion video recording. So let me show you how to do this. First, you obviously turn it on. I'm sure you know where that button is, right on top. Okay, now the next thing you have here is a button right here that says auto, or it switches to, has a little camera symbol right there. So we're going to switch it down to that camera symbol. Oops. Okay. Okay, next thing we're going to do is press the function set button, which is right in the middle of this circle thing here. So press that. You have all these different settings in here: auto white balance, my color, ISO speeds, and then you have record mode, which is where you want to select it. You go through this menu here. You have different record modes you can do. You can have program, which is one of my favorites, where you can actually control the different settings and do a custom white balance and all that stuff, which I enjoy doing. Portrait, kids and pets, smart shutter, a lot of these things. High speed burst is pretty neat if you need to capture images fast. Best image selection, you can select the image. Handheld night scene, which is those are okay settings. Fisheye, it's kind of neat. It's a digital fisheye effect. It's pretty cool. Miniature effect, toy camera effect, that's kind of neat, but I can pretty much do that in the computer itself. I'd prefer to do it in there. There's more control. Monochrome, which is just black and white, is all that is. Super vivid, that makes everything like real bright, high saturation, actually pretty high saturation. So, but once again, another thing that I would rather do in the computer myself. Poster effect, color, okay, yeah. Okay, so there's all these different things. I'm not sure, underwater, okay, well, we don't have a case for underwater, although we should get one. That would be pretty neat. So there's all these different settings. The very last one on here is slow motion, super slow motion. So that's how, and we'll select that and press the function set button to select that. And right up here at the top it has the super slow motion logo, which is a camera and looks like a little stick figure running. So that's their symbol for slow motion. The other thing we can do in here is we go back into the function settings. Let's see, function, and then this is where we can control the frame rate, and this is how many frames per second it's going to record for slow motion. Now we can record 120 frames per second, or we can change it to 240 frames per second. Now 240 frames per second is really cool and it looks good. The only problem is the higher the frame rate is, the less quality of video you're going to get. So at 240 frames per second you have a movie that's 320, which is lower than standard definition, which is standard def is 480. So, and then at 100 frames per second, 120 frames per second, you have 640. So it's actually above standard. So you're not going to be able to get HD in slow motion, but I prefer the 120 frames per second because, I mean, that puts it at least above standard. So the quality of the image looks way better at 120 frames per second. So that's how you would select that. You go back into the function settings and you would scroll through here until you find the one that says frame rate, and you would click over and you can select either 240 or 120. That's up to you. My preference is at 120. And that's pretty much it. So now we're in slow motion and we could just press the record button and do slow motion. If you want to go back to just recording regular video, all you really have to do is just click this button back up to auto, and then you can just press the record button and it'll record like a regular movie. If you want to go back to slow motion, you can just click it down, and now we're in slow motion. So it saves it. The last setting that you put the program on, it actually saves it in this spot here. So you can, when you click back, it'll go back to the last thing that you used. So if slow motion was the last thing you used, which is pretty much the only thing I use, then it'll always be there. So you can get into slow motion with just a click of the button. So real simple, real easy. And that's how you put your Canon Powershot into slow motion.